A funny old season, this one. Not a lot of teams absolutely grabbing this season by the scruff of the throat. A lot of teams still in it, and a lot of fantasy guys going up and down and everywhere pretty much. So there's a few big names coming back in round 25, or potentially. I'm going to go through a couple of them before running quickly through my team and then at Supercoach as well. I'm currently ranked just outside the top 3,000 again, been floating in and out the last few weeks. Um, I think the story of the season has just been you pick vibes picks, you pick the scenario. Last year I had problems with picking just purely based on stats. And this year I think I've had problems picking basically guys who I thought you had to have based on quality and other factors like going for Couchmans instead of Tellis Duncans in mid-season. But hopefully we can rectify that with some nice picks over the next couple of weeks. There's 3 rounds left. Hopefully I can make some nice jumps back up into a good rank. So starting with the Rabbits and the Dragons, Trell's gone again. Pinched nerve in his back or something like that. Not tons to talk about here other than Walker bench and Koloamatangi back from an ankle injury. So he is back a fair bit earlier than a lot of people were thinking. He was supposed to be out for the rest of the regular season, but he has returned. I think that there is good opportunity for him and the Rabbitohs to go a little bit better. If Latrell Mitchell's coming, if Cameron Murray is supposedly really close, I think that there's a little bit of juice to the Rabbitohs for these last few rounds. They've got the Roosters rivalry in round 27. They've got Dragons this week, Charity Shield. Is it Charity Shield at this time of year? I think it is. Anyway, it's this Dragons team has been decimated by 3 failed HIAs, I think it was. I think the Rabbits actually probably win this, and I would expect big games from potentially guys like Johnston, although you don't buy X Johnston unless you really lean into that try scoring record for these last couple of rounds. And I don't think really anybody owns any other Rabbitohs apart from maybe like a couple Humphreys owners, and those still holding on to Duncan. So not super relevant. I haven't listened to Physio's comments, but we found this year that shoulder injuries and like upper body injuries have been really damaging for forwards. We've seen Lucas, we've seen Olakawatu, we've seen Yo now, we've seen Couchman, all with big shoulder injuries that just hang around and keep them down. So I don't know. Koloamatangi, I don't think it'll affect him as much. But I mean, I can't remember how much the syndesmosis can affect your explosiveness and things like that. I think that's more Achilles type stuff, but we'll have to go and look at that. But look at this. The GOAT, the last Tigers player to play in a final, Ben Murdoch-Masila, big money Masila, the legend returns. Good to see him in first grade again. All right. Panthers and Raiders. Here we go. This has huge, huge, huge implications for resting. If the Panthers lose this, basically it's going to be tough for them to rest. I think they've had guys like Yo rest and then be injured. They've had Edwards had a week off. Somebody else had a week off. Cleary. Like, I think there's scope for if they lose one of these next 2, now that they lost to the Storm in Golden Point, that they don't rest, or at least not that significantly. So I expect them to go all out this game. Yo's in the reserves. It doesn't fill me with confidence that he's going to play 80 minutes this week, but I mean, I'll still be playing him over probably I don't know. There's probably enough guys that we can loop with anyway to deal with Yo if you still have him. Okay, so there's no sign of what's his face? I haven't seen him so long. I've forgotten his name. What's the other English bloke? Matty Nicholson. There you go. So Matty Nicholson still isn't here. A lot of people thought he probably might be. But yeah, just watch out for Hosking Horsburgh, Tarpanay minutes when he does. For now, though, pretty good. Keep on trucking, etc. Hudson Young's great, but I mean, if they win this, like, there's no way they miss the top two. So may miss a couple. All right, Storm and Bulldogs, two really high quality games this week. Really, really good. I'm a bit dubious about Munster at fullback, but it isn't the Panthers. They're still pretty good though. Tracy fullback, Karaz back on the wing. Hopefully that means Karaz goes back to regular Karaz because it's been a bit yuck lately. Galvin has been underwhelming since he hurt his hand. Kickout and Preston take turns at being good and underwhelming. I don't think I'd actively go out and buy these guys anymore. I mean, you've probably got 2 trades left or maybe less. If you've got more than that, you're probably a little bit luxury, which is great. You can go out and buy some of these high ceiling guys that you can do a number for your team. If Munster does move to half and Pappenhausen comes back in, which is pretty high potential. I think it was a concussion. Yeah, concussion return. So I wouldn't mind that at all. I think Munster without Hughes is still really good. Anyway, that's really about it from this game. Reed Marnie is going to be so cheap next year. We'll see. Bailey Hayward. I can't remember how expensive he is now. I don't think he's a cash down though anymore. All right, Seagulls versus Dolphins. Anybody got any idea how to tip this? I got no clue. Seagulls just don't know what they're doing. Lose to the Tigers. Dolphins look good and then bad and then good and then bad. With their injuries finally catching up to them. Trey Fuller bench though. Hammer one. Do we expect to switch late? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see. No Garrick though, and so DC probably picks up goals. Anyone interesting in this team? Really? See, they're not crash hot either. They're missing 1 or 2 as well, especially with Olakuatu not around. So this could be a little bit of a bludger of a game. Hopefully, it's nice and attacking. Kurt Donohue's just a go. He's a legend. Would still buy him? How expensive is he? He's someone that I would have absolutely loved to have bought in that mid-season, along with the guys like Tallis Duncan. Didn't end up doing it. Got guys like AFB Campbell when he got injured. And who else did I have? Can't remember. I've sold them already. Anyway, but that's about it for that. Garrick out for the rest of the regular season. I think he's a sell. All right, the return of Berry pushes C&K back to fullback to a peaky out of the team. So those who jumped on for a nice pod, unfortunately, been a little bit let down. Keeney 14 again. They might just run that for the rest of the year. I'm not too sure. How did the minutes? What did they do? I don't think Keeney actually played that much. Fermor continues to be Fermor. I would have loved to have picked him over Gagai. I think Gagai's just not. Obviously, he's a no-go now with centre, and yeah, I don't even know if he's getting goals. I saw Barry Toohey state that he was probably kicking if he could get through training and was going to do it that week, managing that leg groin injury. So there's a chance that he kicks this weekend. But, I mean, how many points are they... Wait, what am I doing? Gagai. Yeah, I'm talking about Gagai because I own him and we're talking about the Titans game. Fermor is a good option though. Campbell, I think you need at the back end of this. You just need as one of your guys at the back and you leave it at that. Tino, a week back. I think he played over 50 minutes, which is really good signs, but they just, didn't need to do a lot of tackling that was ended up being where's the score? Yeah, 76 points were put on. The forwards can't do anything in a game like that. I think Fermor's fine. I think Campbell's great. If Keeney's going to stay there, Brimson's potentially good, but don't love it. Don't love how risky it is. Wade Egan's back, but I don't know. Con Watson's broken, so well, not broken, but broken for fantasy. And then we'll get there. Now, one interesting other thing is that's the wrong Tupou. There's no Daniel Tupou. So do we get good version of Nawa? A lot of people own and a lot of people have probably sold with the rough scores recently. I'm somebody who's unfortunately holding. I'm really hoping that he can uh, start to get a lot more ball with Junior Tupou on the wing now instead of Daniel Tupou. But Sam Walker loves to kick instead of pass, and he can't do those big runs as much. Lomax needs to aim up with some of his tries are still great, but his defense needs to come up as well. I think the Roosters have pretty good history over the Eels. I think they'll win this comfortably. Angus Crichton's around. White has turned into Terrell May. Um, but he'd better watch out so they don't say, "Hey, you're not in our future plans, eh? Just leave the club." Yeah, he's been great. I think he scored a double last week, which is kind of mental. Hopgood is the one that I would want to talk about of these mid-priced guys. He's been getting consistently good minutes now. I'm not sure why there was such a change. I just don't quite understand. I think you can buy him if you can't reach some of those other guys, or you need to price some deadwood out of your emergencies, or your starting 17 or 18 players most of the time. With Junior Paulo, going back to the Titans, talking about former Eels, there is no Jolliffe. He is gone for the year, I'm pretty sure. Yep, knee injury. That also makes Tino more appealing. So keep that in mind. Anything else? Captain Teddy? Probably not. Probably yes in Supercoach, but not fantasy. All right, Broncos Knights. I tell you, Walshy, that was a cracking game. And I mean, the Knights also just got killed by the Cowboys. Maybe we see it happen again. Maybe we see another big Walsh score. That was the play last week. You saw all the playmakers, Reynolds, Mam, all of them were gone. Walsh was the one that had to step up, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was a huge one. And yeah, well, could be the same again this week. We'll see how it goes. Paddy Carrigan's fine. Payne Haas is a captaincy option. Will he go through this Knights forwards pack? I don't know. I think it's Haas and Cleary for the rest of the year. Terrell May, he's great, but he's not quite tip top anymore, it seems, for some reason. All right. Typeus Paul, I think, is also a very solid buy. He's been very, very good the last 3 months, fantasy wise. So it'll be interesting to see him at the Tigers next year. Probably in, what do you reckon, Alex Seyfarth's spot? I don't know. We will see. Jesse Arthur's on the bench is interesting for Karapani in Supercoach. I will say that. So I don't know. Maybe not a play in Supercoach, even though it is the Knights. That's so tempting, though. Maybe if you can, if Arthur's drops out or there's some movement, you might be able to do it later. But I don't know. Might be able to check against a Gagai or something in that late game. But yeah, you wouldn't be benching Drinkwater versus the Tigers. It's a Leichhardt, and the Tigers and the Cowboys seem to beat each other by 50, and you don't know which one it is. I remember that, was it 2 years ago? One of them beat the other by 60, and then I think the Cowboys came out and beat them by like 70. It was absolutely ridiculous. I think it was the record turnaround between two games. Taylor May is having a really strong introduction, but the main guy is Adam Doueihi. 7, kicking, attacking, tackling. I think he's probably just about the buy of the week. I really like him. When his centre duel is massive when you don't have a good Gagai anymore. Or if you're missing a half, potentially, if you're worried Fogarty is going to miss around 27 and Munster's going to miss around 27. So I might actually even do that. Yeah, and I don't want to play Galvin anymore. That's Kind of a bit shocking how that's turned out, but we will carry through. All right. Anything else here? Braden Burns has been doing good things, but it's just not quite good enough in fantasy. In Supercoach, he's possibly a play. But yeah, Drinky. How much better is it, hey? How much better is it when he kicks goals and has Lincoln Jake Clifford in the team and Purdue at centre? So much better. I don't really know who to tip this one. There's a lot of people on the West Tigers, but I reckon even though it was against the Knights, I reckon the Cowboys with this attacking setup, Clifford halves, Purdue centres, Drinkwater at the back. I think they are better there, so I might be tipping them. We will see how that goes. Yeah, Fainu's just bombed out. If you still have Fainu and you have a trade left that you can get to somebody that's reasonable and is going to be serviceable in your 17 or like maybe even your 18th, I would do it. I think, did he score 0 last week? Is he even worth anything? Oh, he's not even worth anything anymore. Ah, no. Yuck. Oh, well. All right. Anything that I missed, anything that we need to know, as expected, Walsh and Drinky, the big two. Clear is fine. Hiroti had a good game. Dylan Edwards had a good game. All these Sharkies on the buy. So Mulatalo being a solid pod recently. Probably can't buy now at that price. And yeah, it's the buy, so blah. Pines has been doing strong. Grant is if you bought Connor Watson, you'd be spewing. You would be spewing because Grant has just been really, really good. I'm happy enough with Aaron Clark. I still think he's pretty decent. Yeah, that's about all she wrote, really. Anybody interesting in these big ones? Nah, Jackson Ford's suspended now, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah, that's about it, really. Jack Williams, I suppose. He's been alternately scoring 45 to 50 and then having a random really good game. With Hopgood getting bigger minutes, I think that's a mark against him. How many minutes has he been getting? Let's have a quick look before we move on. Williams. Jack Williams. He has been okay. No, I just haven't been paying enough attention, apparently. Yeah, lots of 40s to 50s and then a big one every now and then. So he's fine. What's he priced at now? 45? I don't know if he's going to be valuable and will make you ranks in your final team, but if you're bleeding points and losing ranks that way, he might stem that bleeding, I suppose. I suppose that's what his role in your team might be. Pretty solid, will average 50 for you, and you'll like it. Okay. So I'm out of most of my head to heads already. Still in the Premium Plus one. Jamie clonked me in the Content League last week. 970. Yeah, 977 for me. Just yeah. The last few trades I set up with for the runner home have really, really turned sour. So held Nawa, Galvin in, Gagai in, Yo in. You just has not happened, unfortunately. So I think in the end of season review, I'll go into it a little bit more deeply and try and get into why I bought some of these guys in and why I probably should have flipped the strategy, approached the good form mid-season and then solidified on the other guns rather than the cut price guys, because it did cost me a lot of salary cap and a lot of points across the last. Yeah, look at this. My team value is down to 13.5 million. A lot of the guns have gone down, sure, but still, that's a lot less than everybody up the top. A lot less. It used to be close, only a few hundred K off, and now it's way down. So I'm kind of stuck with most of these guys for the rest of the year. I've got 211K in the bank though. So if I was to get one of these players this week, I would probably be looking for an Adam Doueihi, or maybe who was the other guy I was mentioning? Bo Thermore. Um, Cary Grant, not so much. Who was the other guy that was about 600K? Donahue. Nah, I'm missing somebody. Reece Walsh, nah. Look, I think for me, it's pretty much just accept Dane Gagai as a bust and move on. Kiraz is back to normal this week. Nawa's, I literally don't know. He's been pretty ordinary for the last month. Gagai's been pretty ordinary. Do I buy another centre? Is that a waste? Probably. But if Munster and Fogarty are missing, round 27, Cleary's missing round 27, maybe I do need another half. Campbell's there. Galvin's there. That'll do. Drinking career centers. How many centers do I have? Yeah, Doueihi's another center as well. I only have 1, 2, 3 centers, and Dogs might even rest. So it's an option, I suppose, especially if I move Campbell to halves. Let's check how many players are in my team that are from other teams that are high resting potential. So let's start up the top. Katoa, Munster, Ra, there's Fogarty. So probably 4 that are pretty high risk. Cleary is also decently high risk as well if the Panthers can make a few. Yo with the injury. So I could be down a fair few players. I don't really want to sideways trade one of these guys unless it's one of the guys who I expect to possibly be out. And I can't really do that at this stage. So unless I just go nut Yo sucks. His shoulder's going to be rough for the rest of the year. It's not really worth trading out any of these guys because unfortunately I can't quite go Galvin up to Adam Doueihi. It's just a little bit short. And Nawa, do I want to do it, especially with the lack of centers? Oh, it's tough. Do I go with the draw with the other stuff, or do I leave it? Let's have a look at the Tigers draw. That'd probably be the only thing that I would actually. Can I even reach it with Nawa? Is there even a point? Let me check that. Nawa to Doueihi. Can I do it? I can't. Okay, so I will leave it then. Well, that's a bit disappointing, but maybe these last two just go for injury. Drinkwater out round 27 for with when he's on the bye, and one of these other guys. Let's strategize. Drinky will be definitely out. And then I'll have one guaranteed wing fullback, one dual, one centre dual, and one Blair. So I'm really only guaranteed that Teddy is going to be fully in my back line because I might want Nile at centre. I might want Karaz at centre. I might want Campbell at half. So it wouldn't hurt for me to do like a Drinkwater to Trell round 27. That might be a really nice play. If his back is fine, we will see on that. Adam Doueihi, I would love to own, but I think would have to trade somebody that I don't want to trade. Adam Fanua-Blake, I think that was mostly just because it was the game of no forwards. His minutes were fine, weren't they? Adam Fanua-Blake, 47. Okay, a bit low. No huge notes on it. Yeah. All right. I've been paying as much attention with some of these games the last couple of weeks because there aren't any trades left. There aren't any other things going on, and yeah, not a lot that I can do when I've stuck myself with these players. So it's been a good learning season. It's sort of go with your gut rather than what I sort of said this last year. I tried to enact, I guess, more a feel version of it, but I think I went too reactive with the crowd rather than, yeah, mate, tell us Duncan to go. It looks like it's happening. So we will see how that goes next year. It's been a bit better with Supercoach. Last week, not so much because I decided to vice captain Cleary instead of Teddy or somebody like that. And yeah, I missed out completely on Hines. Got his 145, of course, but Yeah. No captain or VC, which a lot of people did, and a lot of people said Reece Walsh, Summer Drinkwater. So between those three of them, I think it was about 70% of people who got a big score that they either looped or had. So now I've lost about 80, 80 points, 90 points of ranking, and I'm almost out of the top 100, still in. My problem now is this bloke has not been helpful for me. I think I sold Tino to Yo, and then Yo broke and he sat there. I brought Tino back in for Bradley. So it has been a pretty wasteful set of trades. And unfortunately, because Yo wasn't playing, I played McInnes' 11, which is pretty and White was stuck up there. Absolutely very sad. Didn't play him. Probably wasn't going to play him. But I mean, if I'd had Carrigan, who knows? Maybe I would have. Don't think so, though. So maybe just wishful thinking. Happy to play him this week, though, considering how important he is to their forward pack. And against the Eels, well, maybe goes through for another one. Gagai, though, look, if he jags some sort of attacking stat and is back to goals this week, I think he can go well. Karapani, I'm worried about Arthur's. I'll wait on that. Nala, I'm going to play because I think there's a lot larger chance that he'll get ball with Daniel Tupou out. Talangi's, look, he's turned out to be a pretty mediocre play. He's had 2 really nice scores and 3 pretty meh disappointing scores. I think he's had 2 50s, a 40, an 80, and a 90. So overall, it's like a 65 average, something like that. Not ideal. Casey McLean would have been better, but it's been all right. When does Munster play? Is it first? It's close. Yeah, I think I'll wait and see what the go is with Munster fullback versus 5'8". But it's not as good, not as crazy defense as Panthers. I think this is probably going to be my setup for this week. I might free loop because I mean Watson can't play Watson at the moment unless you like. This is the only week that I intend to play Watson from now on, other than round 27 if there's carnage. So yeah, I think that I would like to get Adam Doueihi this team as well, but I would need to trade out a guy like Gagai to do it. And yeah, if I don't have the ability to move through duels, I think I might sit for a week and then make big moves later on. The fullbacks are serving me well at the moment. But yeah, these guys need to live. Look at this. One person over 45. Talangi's 43 is my second highest out of my 7 centre wings, and they all played. And they all, like a month ago, I thought I'd overstacked. So I'm keen for them to repay, start heading up the ranks a little bit, and we'll decide whether I let loop captains using Blake Brayley, and depending if I've got any low random scores in here, that'll auto emergency, something like that. So who's being brought in? I'm pretty sure it's mostly the Adam Doueihi show, isn't it? And there's a few Taylor Mays and there's a few other bits. Yeah, Adam Doueihi, Harry Grant, Roger, Brees. Sam Walker is a nice pod play. He's probably going to have a few big scores in him, especially around 27, maybe. Yeah, I actually really like the Taylor May play if you can't get to Adam Doueihi or Roger. I think the Tigers' run for the last 3 games is really nice. Raiders is a little rough, but Cowboys, Titans, you play him for those 2 and you might get a 90. He's sort of done that. Titans, you got 90. Seaeagles, you got 100. With only 1 try each, too. He's very got a high base and power. I think you can get a couple of really big scores out of Taylor May over that period if you're lucky. So that's me for this week, guys. Heading towards the end of the season. Keen to see your thoughts on how do you reckon I could have done my supercoach and my fantasy year a little bit differently. The we'll finish off with the JBFA private group shout out and competition. Papa Dogs, David is starting to inch away from me a little bit, put 100 points a gap. 3 weeks to go. I'm going to need to push really hard to catch back up. And big battle for third place. Some gap put in between Trail Corp and J. We'll see how that ends up playing out. But yeah, good to see Jamie also continuing to move up. Been impressed with how much he's been able to move over the last 6 to 8 weeks, especially. He's done pretty well. Yeah, I'm out of the Supercoach Hub Legends already. Unfortunately, I ran into Myth, who I think is 12th and first overall. So can't get too much harder than that. Well done to those guys. And yeah, shout out to Finn. He's looking like he's going for the win, and he's been around in Supercoach circles for quite a long time. So would be well deserved if he ends up taking the title. Look at this gap that's starting to form: 100 points, 50 points, and then another 125 or so. So only really a few in it now, unless there's a few people that get back to back to back 1,500, 1,600. So it's starting to tighten up. Good luck to them. Good luck to Myth. He's only 400 points off. I think it's probably a little bridge too far, but hopefully he can push into the single digits and get a really good finish. That'll do this week, guys. Bye, Adam Doueihi. That's it.